Floyd Mayweather never lost. 50 wins, 0 defeats, perfect record, the greatest defensive fighter in history. But at 47, sitting in his Las Vegas mansion, surrounded by millions, Floyd can't escape one question. Who did you avoid? For 20 years, they called him money. For 20 years, he picked his opponents carefully. But 5 names haunt him. 5 boxers he circled around his entire career. 5 fights that never happened. Tonight, Floyd Mayweather confesses. The boxers he avoided, the fights he was too smart to take. This is the truth behind 50 and 0. Number 5, Antonio Margarito, the Mexican warrior, the Tijuana tornado, the man with concrete in his gloves, literally. 2009. Floyd Mayweather was offered $50 million to fight Antonio Margarito. Biggest payday of his career at that time. Floyd said no. "See, I watched what Margarito did to fighters," Floyd said years later. "Watched him destroy Cotto, break his face, end his prime." Antonio Margarito didn't just beat fighters. He damaged them permanently. 38 wins, 27 knockouts. But in 2009, something happened. They found loaded gloves in Margarito's wraps before the Shane Mosley fight. Plaster. Illegal hand wraps hardened with calcium and sulfur. Brass knuckles disguised as boxing gloves. When the news broke, Floyd was in his gym. His trainer showed him the report. "You dodged a bullet," his trainer said. Floyd didn't respond because he already knew. "I suspected something was wrong with Margarito's punches," Floyd confessed at 47. "Watched him break Miguel Cotto's face. Orbital bone shattered. A career never the same. Watched him retire fighters with brain damage. Something wasn't right." The $50 million offer came in 2008, before the scandal, before anyone knew about the loaded gloves. Floyd turned it down. People called him scared, called him a cherry picker, said he was avoiding the Mexican warrior. Floyd didn't defend himself, just smiled and moved on. 1 year later, the truth came out. Margarito was caught, suspended, banned, his legacy destroyed. And Floyd Mayweather had avoided fighting a man with weapons in his gloves. "People ask me how I knew," Floyd said. "I didn't know for certain, but I felt it. Watched tape, studied his knockouts. Something was off. Fighters don't break faces like that with normal punches." After the scandal, reporters asked Floyd about the Margarito offer. Floyd was in Monaco, sitting on a yacht, counting money. "God protects me," Floyd said simply. "I trust my instincts. My instincts said no." But late at night, Floyd thinks about Miguel Cotto, thinks about what Margarito did to Cotto's face, thinks about how that could have been him. "Cotto was never the same after Margarito," Floyd whispered. "Orbital bone shattered, face reconstructed, confidence gone. That could have been me, my face, my career." Floyd Mayweather avoided Antonio Margarito, not because he was scared, because he was smart enough to sense danger, smart enough to trust his gut, smart enough to say no to $50 million when something felt wrong. The Mexican warrior with loaded gloves, the Tijuana tornado with plaster in his wraps, the man who would have ended Floyd's perfect face. Floyd never fought him, never had to. And at 47, Floyd still believes God was watching. "Boxing tried to set me up," Floyd said quietly. $50 million to fight a man with weapons. I said no. People laughed. 1 year later, the truth came out. I don't avoid fighters, I avoid traps. Antonio Margarito, the fighter Floyd was too smart to face. Number 4. Paul Williams, the Punisher, 6'1", 82-inch reach, a welterweight built like a middleweight, a freak of nature. 2008. Paul Williams was destroying everyone at 147 pounds, throwing 100 punches per round, relentless pressure, unorthodox angles, a nightmare for defensive fighters. Floyd Mayweather's team was approached. Williams wanted the fight, begged for it publicly. "Fight me, Floyd," Williams said in interviews. "Stop running. Face a real welterweight." Floyd watched the call-outs. He watched Williams dismantle Antonio Margarito, watched him overwhelm Shane Mosley in their first fight, and Floyd did what he always does. He studied. "Paul Williams was the most dangerous style for me," Floyd admitted at 47. "Not the best boxer, the most dangerous." The problem was simple. Williams was too tall, too long, too busy. Floyd's defensive genius relied on distance control, slipping punches, rolling with shots, making opponents miss by inches. But Paul Williams threw punches from angles that didn't exist. 82-inch reach meant he could hit Floyd from distances Floyd couldn't counter. "I watched Williams fight," Floyd said. "Counted his punches, 100 punches, some rounds. How do you slip 100 punches? You don't." Floyd's team knew the problem. Williams was young, hungry, undefeated at the time, and he had nothing to lose. "Paul wanted my legacy," Floyd confessed. "Didn't care about money, wanted to be the man who beat Floyd Mayweather." That's the most dangerous opponent, someone who doesn't care about getting paid. The negotiations happened behind closed doors. Williams's team asked for $5 million. Floyd's team offered $2 million. The deal fell apart. Publicly, they blamed money. But Floyd knew the truth. "I didn't want that fight at that time," Floyd whispered. "Williams was wrong for my style, wrong size, wrong mentality. I needed him to age, slow down, lose a step." Floyd waited, watched Williams's career. Paul Williams got knocked out by Sergio Martinez. Career damaged, aura gone. 2012. Paul Williams was paralyzed in a motorcycle accident. Career over, legacy frozen. When Floyd heard about the accident, he was silent for days. "I felt guilty," Floyd said at 47, "not because I avoided him, because I waited for time to handle what I couldn't. Then time took him out of boxing permanently." Floyd never fought Paul Williams, never had to prove he could beat the Punisher. The fight that could have exposed Floyd's defensive limitations. The tall, long, relentless pressure fighter who threw too many punches to slip. "People say I ducked Paul Williams," Floyd said quietly. "Maybe they're right. Maybe I was too smart to take that risk. Or maybe I was just patient enough to let Father Time fight him first." Paul Williams. The 6'1" problem Floyd never solved. The Punisher who wanted Floyd's head more than his money. The fighter Floyd strategically avoided until the motorcycle took him. At 47, Floyd thinks about Williams in a wheelchair and thinks about how boxing takes everyone eventually, some in the ring, some on a motorcycle. Floyd took the easier path. He admits it, but he doesn't apologize for it. "I stayed undefeated," Floyd said. "That's all that matters." Number 3. Winky Wright. The awkward southpaw, the defensive genius, the man nobody wanted to fight. 2005. Winky Wright was the most avoided fighter in boxing, undisputed junior middleweight champion, 15-fight win streak, beat Shane Mosley twice, dismantled Felix Trinidad, destroyed everyone, and nobody would fight him, especially Floyd Mayweather. Winky Wright was my nightmare, Floyd confessed at 47. Everything I did well, he did better. The problem was technical. Winky fought southpaw, tight defense, high guard, impossible to hit clean. And he was bigger, stronger. He naturally 154 pounds while Floyd was jumping up from 130. I built my career on being unhittable, Floyd said. But Winky was more unhittable. The fight was discussed in 2005. Both fighters at their prime, both undefeated, both defensive masters. Boxing needed the fight. Fans demanded it. Floyd versus Winky would have been the most boring fight in history, Floyd's Uncle Roger said, or the most technical masterpiece ever. Floyd watched Winky's fights obsessively, studied his southpaw stance, analyzed his shoulder roll, counted his punches landed per round. The numbers terrified him. Winky averaged 15 punches landed per round, Floyd said. In a 12-round fight, that's 180 total punches. I averaged 25 punches landed per round, but Winky's opponents averaged 8 punches landed. Mine averaged 12. Floyd did the math. Against Winky, his output would drop. Winky's defense would neutralize Floyd's speed. The fight would be technical, boring, close, and close fights go to judges. I don't trust judges, Floyd whispered, especially in a fight that boring. The negotiations happened. Winky's team wanted 50-50 split. Floyd offered 60-40. Winky refused. Floyd walked away. Publicly, they blamed money, but privately, Floyd was relieved. I dodged Winky Wright, Floyd admitted at 47. Not because I couldn't beat him, because I couldn't dominate him. And if I can't dominate, why risk the zero? Floyd moved up to welterweight, fought Zab Judah instead. Easier style, easier win, easier money. Winky Wright waited for the Floyd fight, waited for the payday, waited for his legacy moment. It never came. By 2009, Winky retired. Undefeated against everyone except Father Time. The Floyd fight never happened. The defensive masterpiece never materialized. And Floyd's zero stayed perfect. People forget how good Winky was, Floyd said quietly. They remember my name, not his. But Winky Wright was the most skilled fighter I avoided. Most skilled, most dangerous, most likely to expose me. At 47, Floyd rewatches Winky's fights, studies the southpaw stance, watches the shoulder roll, sees himself in the mirror. We were the same, Floyd whispered. Defensive geniuses, impossible to hit, boring to casual fans. The fight would have been chess, not boxing. And in chess, one wrong move ends everything. Floyd chose not to play. Chose easier opponents, chose guaranteed wins, chose 50-0 over 49-1. Winky Wright. The southpaw Floyd was too smart to face. Am the defensive master who could have out-defended the best defensive fighter ever, the man who would have made Floyd's perfect record a coin flip. Floyd avoided him, stayed perfect, and at 47, he doesn't regret it. Greatness isn't about who you fight, Floyd said. It's about who you beat. And you can't beat someone if you never fight them. Floyd Mayweather went 50-0. Never lost, never bled, never hit the canvas. But 5 fighters haunted his perfect record. Margarito with loaded gloves, Paul Williams with 82-inch arms, Winky Wright with a defense better than Floyd's. 2 more names still coming. Which fighter do you think Floyd was smartest to avoid? Drop it in the comments below. And if you want the truth about boxing legends who finally confess their secrets, hit that subscribe button. Because at 47, see, champions stop lying. They start telling the truth. The fights Floyd never took, the zeros he protected,